We're going to have a look at converting fractions to percentages in this session. Now, we're going to have a look at this first one here. It's 47 over 100. This is the easiest one to convert because it's already got the denominator of 100 here. Now, remember in earlier videos we said with percent, it's out of 100. That's what the percent means. So that must then mean it's 47%. This is really important to note. So if it's out of 100 already, it makes it a lot easier for us to write it as a percentage because it would just be the numerator. So if we then look at this next one, which is 4 over 10, we could rewrite that because I know using my equivalent fraction knowledge, I can say I'm going to change this to be over 100. So I've multiplied that by 10. So if I do the same to my numerator and I multiply that by 10, I would get 40. And that would then mean I could write this, because it's 40 out of 100, it's therefore 40%. Right, take note of these because this is your new learning and this will help you answer the question. So I want to see these examples written down. Now 11 over 25 is a little bit different because we can't multiply that by 10. But what do I know about the 25 if I know that I want to get my denominator to be 100? Because remember, if my denominator is 100, I can easily write my percent. Hopefully you've spotted that that has just 25 multiplied by 4. So we would need to do the same to my denominator to get our equivalent fraction. So this would be 44. And therefore it's 44 out of 100, so it's 44%. Okay, pause the video, have a try at the next one yourselves. Okay, you should have paused the video and had a go at this one. So remember, we want our denominator to be 100. Okay, so if I want my denominator to be 100, what have I done here? So how many times does 20 go into 100? It goes into it 5 times. So I can absolutely multiply this by 5. Remember, I need to do the same here. So this would then be 55. And I know if it's 55 out of 100, it's 55%. So it's really important to know that if we can get this to 100 easily, that is probably the easiest way to work out the percent. So 37 over 10 this time. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? Get to my denominator of 100. To get there, I'm multiplying it by 10 again. I do the same to my numerator, so I multiply this by 10. That's going to give me 370. So it's 370 out of 100, so that means it's 370%. And yes, we can have 370%. I know this is a big question that quite often comes up. So if 100% is a cup of coffee, then 200% would be 2 cups of coffee. Okay, so we can have more than 100%. So in this next one, 37 over 1,000. Now this is a little bit different because remember my denominator needs to be 100. And at the moment it's on 1,000. So what do I need to do? So this time I'm dividing it by 10. We'll do the same to that. I divide that by 10. I'm going to get 3.7. So this is 3.7%. Okay. So 65%, we're looking at it in the reverse this time. So what is 65% as a fraction? Well, let's start off and say, well, 65 over 100. Right. This ends in a 5 and this ends in a 0. So straight away I'm thinking, well, they must be divisible by 5. So how many times does 5 go into 65? Well, that would be 13. How many times does 5 go into 100? That would be 20. So I've now simplified my fraction by dividing it by 5 because I spotted that they were both in the 5 times table. So this one here, so 6.5%, so this would be 6.5%, so 6.5 out of 100. At the moment, that's not a proper fraction because it's 6.5. So what do I need to do to make this a proper fraction? I'm going to multiply that by 10. And this now gives me 65 over 1,000. So here we're just looking at those patterns between 100 and our other denominators and using that to help us work out the percentages. So go and try the questions and see how you get on. If you get stuck, you can always come back and watch the video again.